Hi, Bat here with the second part of my Orion Sphere live action roleplay overview, and today's video is focusing on the Club UK Starship Bridge Simulator. They use the Empty Epsilon software, and it allows them to micromanage missions that have been pre-designed and then add in new things and adjust for what players' actions are in real time. Now, I've got a background in moderated games myself. I used to work at SJEgan, whether that's PBM is a different thing. I have actually done moderated role-playing games in regards to the old software Neverwinter Nights from 2002. So I do actually have an appreciation of just how much work's involved prepping for these things, but also crucially the pressure of doing it in real time whilst players are asking questions and events are happening. So Wayne and Raymond, who are running it, not only did a great job of setting up all this software and hardware on a camping site of all things, sorting out a few power issues to do the local setup, but then actually when running the games of bringing their characters, Mr. Dalliard and Mr. Dalliard, and that level of immersion that one wishes that they have at most role-playing events. They really did manage to keep the A game going and just that sense of gravitas that you want. So a quick explanation about Empty Epsilon. It's software that allows you to take positions on a ship, a bit like, say, being on the bridge of the Enterprise or some Star Trek setup. So what you've got is the players are playing engineering, science, communications, weapons, flight, as well as a captain who takes information from the various positions and then makes the final decision in theory. Of course, one or two of my little events at the weekend, there's a little bit of bickering going on. It's understandable because whilst our characters may actually in some cases be veteran pilots or veteran weapon systems, the phys reps, none of us really knew what we were doing. And it's a good example of the fun that was had, because by the late afternoon on the Saturday I'd done my second actual mission, and it kind of felt like we were pros at that stage, but yeah, we still weren't. But at least at this stage there was actual teamwork and streamlining going on. And the mission I did late on Saturday night, that was a bit different, and partly because Tom Rowe was playing the ship's captain. He actually had every skill as well. So how does this relate to Orion Sphere? Well, you can make a character, and obviously you can choose different skills for your character. Medium weapons to use bigger guns, different types of armor and so forth, reputation skills, which can actually include with the ship's crew. I can't remember the name of the organization off the top of my head now, sorry. But if you choose the ship skills, then you get a bonus when using that position. And I believe if you actually have all the ship skills, then that gives you an extra bonus. And there's a bit more to it than this. And it just kind of gives an idea of the layer of information you can go into and the effect it has on the gameplay. They really have again thought out what's going on at Orion Sphere, and the UKSBS club has actually done a great job of sort of making part of that dream not just a reality, but this extremely impressive reality. So I don't want to overhype too much. It's one of those things where if you were there yourself, you'd understand the level. But I guess anyone that's worked in emergency services, working with a streamlined crew in a really perilous situation, or lots of pressure and people's lives at stake, well, obviously they can relate. But it felt to me that level, like you see in the movies again on Star Trek or whatever. So the other thing that's nice about it is there's at the game you've got this list of missions, and you could arrange to go out and say hunt down some pirates on a bounty. Or maybe there's a satellite that needs repairing, and again you go there. Of course, expecting any of these missions to be straightforward would be a bit silly, so the whole time there's this sense of sort of apprehension. Is there going to be some anomaly turn up? Is there actually going to be other pirates? Are there going to be more pirates? Are there going to be some major diplomatic incident potentially going to happen? You could be coming across one of the four main empires who are up to something in the area and want it keeping quiet, and of course never mind the various corporations that are active. And of course, speaking of anomalies, there's also anomalies that are available to investigate. I was involved in late on Saturday night, a series of time anomalies, which I can't go into, it's all a big secret, but let's just say that was pretty spectacular. And it sort of really ended up feeling, like one of the Star Trek episodes to do with time travel. The good ones, I should say, because obviously there are a few bad sort of time travel stories out there. So, the other thing that's worthwhile noting about this is role-playing itself, live-action roleplay that is getting more and more access to technology. in the future, augmented reality could become a major part of doing live action roleplay. And in a fantasy, that's going to be a bit more difficult to sort of present and do. Whereas with Orion Sphere being a sci-fi, it's pretty understandable. You know, you've stood in front of a console, you've got computerized systems, you've got AIs talking to you. But again, at the sort of real high end of science fiction, science becomes eventually like magic. So, hey, who knows? Maybe someone could pull this sort of thing off at a fantasy LARP. But being as a sci-fi LARP, it really did add this extra level, and it's another reason why Orion Sphere is really worth checking out. Next event's 21st of September, and I don't know how to hype it more than I kind of have. Amazing.